Everyone, welcome to the Township of Mapleton Council agenda and meeting from Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. If you can, please rise for O Canada. All right. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, confirmation of minutes. Resolution moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that Township of Mapleton Council meeting held on September 9th, 2025 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any comments? All in favor? It's carried. Moving down to delegations. Item number 7.1, McSweeney. This is Nancy Johnston. Economic Development, Arts and Culture, Tourism Master Plan. Just waiting for Nancy, who's coming on Zoom.
I'm right here.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
We're very well here.
Good.
You're doing well?
I'm doing very well. Thank
Perfect.
you.
We have your, that's on the screen for us.
Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, thanks for putting me first. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of Council. I'm really happy to be here to present to you the Economic Development and Arts and Culture and Tourism Master Plan. I just wanted to mention quickly that to start off with this has been very personal for me. I just wanted to say that my relatives, my great-grandfather came to Sturton back in the 1880s. And so I feel it's been a real privilege to be able to come up with an economic development strategy and see where my family first started. So, it's been pretty interesting. So just to say too, on behalf of McSweeney Associates, we're really happy that you've chosen us. We had a great time working with Amy and Allie and the Mapleton team, and they were all really helpful and ready to engage with us. So it was great. So I'm just going to go through the presentation, and I think you have time for questions at the end. So next slide. So the purpose of the Economic Development and Arts, Culture, and Tourism Strategy is really to help guide future decisions in economic development and arts, culture, and tourism over the next 5 years, and to really set that foundation for economic success in Mapleton. Next. So how did we get here? So we've been working on, next slide, sorry. So what we've been working on since May, we started the process. We have 4 steps that we go through in order to gather all the information and complete the strategy. So in the Discover section, we are looking at all the quantitative information. The second step is defining is around qualitative research that we do, and then developing is really actually developing the actions and the strategy, and then now we're at that delivery point where we are presenting the final strategy. Next. So when it came to discovering, we actually we completed a community situational analysis for Mapleton, which provided a lot of information on the community. We did a document review, so reviewed a number of documents that were relevant to the strategy. And then we also did an informal industrial and employment land review. So really looked at the types of what you have available. It was just sort of an overview, but it at least gives some direction as to some of the things that could be done. And anything that came out of the informal industrial employment land review is included in the actions. Next. Then we worked with the community. So we had a consultation process. We had one-on-one phone interviews. We had an online survey, and we had in-person focus groups. So we asked the same questions in each one of these types of consultations. So we got some really great information from the community on the community. And in that information, we also, we were able to get the qualitative information from this. So we combined the two, the qualitative and quantitative, and next slide. And then we took that information, we created a score, which is strengths, challenges, opportunities, aspirations, and results. That's a bit of a glorified SWOT analysis, but we've expanded a little bit more. And so we completed that. We did a working session. So in that working session, we brought quite a few of the people back that had already participated in the consultations to do the working session. So in the working session, we actually talked about what kind of actions are needed for the different goals that we came up with. And then out of that, we create an implementation plan. And that implementation plan will be provided to Ali and Amy so that they have a working document that they can use year to year for all of the actions. And it will have timelines in it, and it will have financial implications, all those sorts of things. And that's a document that they use. It's not coming to council, but it's something that they can use as a working document. Next. So now the results are that we've provided you with a 5-year master plan, 2026 to 2030. There's 30 agreed upon strategic actions. And then, as I said, there's an implementation plan in place to support the master plan. Next. So this is the real crux of the master plan. These are the actions, the goals and the actions. These are the important things to take away. Everything else was research, finding out more about the community, but this comes back to you when you have to complete the actions. So next. So we came up with 5 priority goals, and 3 of them are in economic development, 2 of them are in arts, culture, and tourism. We've got the first one about creating a foundational base to support economic development. Goal 2 is about diversifying the economy, and goal 3 is about connecting and communicating. Goal 4 is about partnering with relevant organizations, because we know you can't do it all on your own. And goal 5 is about supporting and educating for the arts, culture, and tourism side. Okay. So local economic development is really important. It really makes a community a great place to invest if you do it the right way, a great place to grow business. Having those foundational items in place, and you'll see those in the actions, is really important, and that really creates a business-friendly environment and really provides township staff and elected officials to all be on the same page regarding processes, policies, what's available, what isn't available with regards to land, all that information. So you're all providing the same information. Next. So as I said, there's the 3 goals around establishing the foundational base to support economic development, diversified economy, and connecting and communicating for economic success. So the next slide will show we've taken the top 5 priority actions out and just added these to the presentation. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at the entire master plan and realize that there's quite a few other actions that are involved in this, but these were the top 5 that we felt that needed to be done sort of first to build those foundations and the fundamental sort of economic development basis. So really the first one is delivering an overview to staff and council about the fundamentals of economic development. Economic development means a lot, something different to everyone. So it's really having everyone understand what economic development is all about and how everyone plays a supporting role in that, in being a business friendly environment. The second one is around making it easy for businesses to understand Mapleton's municipal procedures. And so one of the things that we discussed is to have a concierge program, to have a single point of contact. We know that you have people that are involved in it, but we think that having a single point of contact is really important. Someone who is able to guide the businesses through the various stages of planning approvals. And then the last one is about developing a process guide. So that outlines the permitting and development process. Again, making it easy for the businesses to understand what the process is. It's really difficult sometimes, especially with smaller businesses that only do, they may do a big investment once a year or once a lifetime. So they don't know all the steps in it. So this just makes it easier for them. The third one is about updating the economic development web pages, which I believe that Amy is working on right now. But that's important to provide. In economic development, it doesn't always look like the fun kind of pages on the website, but it's really about being business focused and having business focused information to help investors make an informed choice. And an investor could be an existing business that is looking to stay in Mapleton, or it could be an investor that's coming in from outside. So it's really important to have as much information as you can on the website. Next. The next one is about establishing an ongoing formal business visitation program. And really what that does is that it builds a strength around your networks in the business community. It's really important to get out there, meet with them, talk to them, find out what their issues are, find out what their problems are, and also so that they know who to connect with when they come to the township offices. The other thing is within that is to really coordinate with Wellington County Economic Development and to have their staff participate as well. You don't want to have to duplicate things. So if you can get Wellington County staff and Mapleton staff to go on this business visitation program, then that's really helpful because they can provide information as well as the township staff. And then the last one is about connecting with the business community through regularly scheduled communications. Really important, again, to be able to put that information out. You're a fairly large township and very rural, so sometimes it's hard to get that information out to everyone. So it's really continuing to connect with the business community. Okay, next. Now there's the arts, culture, and tourism side of things because we looked at both. Arts, culture, and tourism does really support economic development as well, but it also is in a way that it contributes to the economy by creating jobs. It does stimulate economic growth, fosters that sense of belonging, and improves quality of life. Next. So we found that through the two goals are really around partnering with relevant organizations and supporting and educating. So supporting public and educating the arts. Okay. And again, we came up with the top 5 priorities for arts, culture, and tourism. And the first one is, there was discussion throughout the research that we did about determining if there's a need for an arts council. So that's one of the things that we suggested, is that just work with the arts community to see if they're interested. And if so, just define that role and responsibility to elevate the arts and culture in Mapleton. The second one is around working with the arts community to host that annual networking meeting to bring the creative community together. There was discussion about that. There's lots of stuff happening out there. There's lots of people that are in arts, culture, and tourism, but we don't know all of them. So bringing those people together and helping them share ideas and finding out who is out there will really strengthen that arts and culture sector. The third one is around undertaking a cultural mapping exercise to build that inventory. So you can, once you start connecting with these people in arts and culture and tourism, then you build that inventory of what's out there, and then you have that ability to sort of sell that. The fourth one is around creating a digital arts hub. So again, information for the arts and culture sector. So it's difficult sometimes to find all this information. So if there's one-stop shop where everybody can go to find that information, really helps the arts and culture and helps everyone. And then the last one is about partnering with the arts, culture, and tourism operators to produce unique day trips. So what makes Mapleton different than all the other communities in the area? Just kind of coming up with those really unique day trips, because you've got some really interesting tourism attractions. And so it's really coming up with those great day trips where people could go from one place to another and explore and have some really good places to visit. Next. So the final master plan is with you now. This is your plan. It comes from your community. It comes from your council and your staff. That everybody has been able to participate in this, provide their input, and so again, it goes back to it's your plan. It was confirmed by economic development staff, the doable and realistic actions over the next 5 years. We tried to keep it very structured, very strategic, so that you have certain things that need to be done first, and then you can build off of those. Next. And that's all I have. Thank you. Kevin and I have been mostly involved with the process, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Nancy. Is questions for Nancy from council? We have no questions for you, Nancy. Thank you so much for laying it out for us.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham, that Township Mapleton receive for information the delegation of McSweeney, Director of Strategic Initiatives regarding economic development and arts, culture, tourism master plan. Any questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have a delegation from Safe Communities, Christine Beat. Christine, welcome. Good to see you again. Hit the button.
There we go. Of course. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to share that Wellington County has completed its 2025 review of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. This updated plan reflects our ongoing commitment to meeting the evolving needs of our community. With a strong focus on key issues such as mental health and addictions, building safe and connected communities, and fostering a sense of belonging for all residents, we continue to work together to make Wellington County a safer, healthier place to live. As required by the Community Safety and Policing Act, this review is conducted every 5 years to ensure that services and programs in place are effective, responsive, and aligned with local needs. A community safety and well-being plan must include 3 components. First, the identification of local priority risk factors based on community consultations and reliable data, including input from OPP and public health. Second, the use of evidence-based programs and strategies that directly address those risk factors. And third, measurable outcomes with clear performance indicators to track our progress and impact. I'm proud to say that through collaboration and commitment, we have not only met, but exceeded the provincial requirement for this plan. Yay! It's very exciting. I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to kind of go through 2 revisions of this, and it's so rewarding to have everybody around the table, at our leadership table. Marlene comes out to our leadership table, and it's so great to see all the representation across the county. So, and that's what the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan is all about. It's not staying in our silos and actually working collaboratively. So, thank you. Again, my voice is going. Thank you to all of the organizations, individuals, Wellington County departments who have contributed both to this most recent update and to the ongoing success of the plan over the past 5 years and future 5 years. Your dedication is what makes this work meaningful and impactful. Thank you so much. Now, I know I've been around for a while. I've been in this position for the last 10 years, but I not only want to talk about the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, but I also want to talk about Safe Communities, Wellington County, and what we're all about, and what we've been doing. It's been very busy and exciting for Safe Communities, Wellington County. Not only did we revise the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, but we also made great strides in increasing its visibility and impact through 2025. We have continued to expand our exposure across Wellington County through a variety of social media and media campaigns, focusing on issues that affect us all: falls, motor vehicle collisions, mental health initiatives, accidental poisonings, and farm and home safety, to name a few. Our presence in the community has been strong. This year we attended the Drayton Farm Show, the Wellington County Farm and Home Safety Association Pancake Breakfast, the Lights and Sirens event in partnership with Fire and OPP, as well as the Fergus Lions Home Show and the Active Living Show at the Fergus Sportsplex. We also participated in the Spring Fling through the Community Resource Center, and recently participated in the Center Wellington Fire Open House, as well as a number of different events, including the Safe Kids Day and Minto in Mapleton as well. These events have allowed us to engage with residents directly and keep community safety front and center. One of the major highlights of the year is our Safe Communities Day, which we expanded from a 1-day event into a 2-day program held on October 1st and October 2nd. Actually, it's coming up next week. This format worked extremely well, and we'll be continuing that format in 2026, 2027, in perpetuity. This format worked extremely well, and so between the 2 days, we've decided that we are doing a 911 day and then a Safety Partners Day. So on October 1st will be the Safety Partners, including falls, emergency management, water safety, dam safety, and then the following day will be 911. So it'll be police, fire, and ambulance. It's another, so the result has been incredible. Last year, we had over 750 students online. Before, we used to hold it in person at the Martin Fieldhouse, which was a fabulous day, don't get me wrong. But we could only cap out at like 300 students. So the impact that we're having on all the students across Wellington County is amazing. Looking ahead, we are making it a priority to attend more events and, importantly, to engage more youth in our work. Youth engagement is not only a focus of our community safety and well-being plan, but also a necessity for building safer communities over the next 5 years and beyond. I'm also excited to share that through Canadian Youth Road Safety Week, formerly National Teen Driver Safety Week, it has allowed me to attend and visit all the Wellington County high schools, as well as some of the Guelph high schools, because some of our Wellington County students actually attend schools in Guelph. A new initiative called Snap for Change is empowering youth to identify and report issues in their communities, whether it's potholes, speeding, or other safety concerns. This initiative gives young people a voice and ensures that their perspectives are part of shaping safer communities. In closing, I want to thank you for listening, for your ongoing support of Safe Communities Wellington County. Together, we are making a real difference. I look forward to continuing this important work with all of you in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. 10 years behind the helm, Harry, right? 10 years, that's, and if I remember correctly, Sarah was before you, and we're going to hear. Just for a minute. So we're going to hear from both of them, and it's great. So thank you, Christine. Questions from council members, Ed? Go ahead, Marlene. Councilor Ottens.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Not a question so much as just a comment, just saying how much I've enjoyed being the council representative on this committee and how we've done a few extra things in Mapleton now through the contacts that we've made through being on this. And we are planning also, it's still in the planning stages, but we want to do a cyber safety evening, and we're partnering with the Canets, the local Canet Club, figuring that's a built-in promotional base to get people to come out, because there has been problems in rural areas, especially where people don't come because they think that's a city problem. It's not. So through the connections we're making with Crime Stoppers and Safe Communities that we're going to plan this evening, we don't have a date yet, but it's going to be for all parents to learn a little bit about the hazards of the internet world for their kids and themselves.
Very important to have, and you're right, it's not just the urban problem, it's a problem everywhere, and especially when, you know, I can remember way back when I was policing, that's a long time ago, a lot longer than 10 years, they were just starting into the, you know, protecting children on the internet, so it's an ongoing problem, and it doesn't seem to be going away, or probably never will, as long as we have predators out there, so thank you. Anything else from council? Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information a delegation of Safe Communities, Christine Veet, the program coordinator, regarding a community safety and well-being plan, and that council offer their continued support of Safe Communities Wellington County. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Moving right along to Crime Stoppers. We have Dave and Sarah. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time to hear from us today. It's always nice to come out to Mapleton and provide an update. Before the meeting, we were able to gather in front of the township office here and do a flag holding. We've been doing a number of flag raisings the last couple of weeks and appealing to the community and our municipal partners to recognize September as Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington Month. And if you've been following us for any length of time, you'll know that normally we do Crime Stoppers Month in January. And if you've lived here for any period of time, you will know why we'd want to move it off of January. So in all seriousness, we did check and see why January was Crime Stoppers Month, and when no one could come up with a logical explanation for that, we did a little research and realized that back in September of 1976, Crime Stoppers was launched in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So why not tie it into a September annual event? And for those of you who aren't familiar with the origin story for Crime Stoppers, back in July of 1976, there was a robbery that evolved into a homicide at a gas station in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Due to the strained relationship between the community and police, they were unable to solve that homicide. Detective Greg McAleese, fun fact, he's Canadian. He was working in Albuquerque at the time, came up with the concept of the anonymous and confidential method of reporting crime, with the idea of offering a cash award from his own pocket of $300, which when I do that presentation for classrooms, the kids kind of like roll their eyes because you can't get a decent gaming console for $300. So when you explain it's more like $1,500 today, it gives them some context. And that was really the launch of it. He came up with that idea, the anonymous, the reward, the media tie-in, and that is the same principles that we work with today here in Guelph Wellington. So when we decided to have this recognition, we thought, well, here's a great time. We've given it a bit of a tweak, and it's Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington Month. You may still hear some programs refer to it as Crime Stoppers Month in January. But so far, it's been well received by moving into September, and we very much appreciate you hearing us for an update today. I'll step away and introduce to you Dave Ellaway, our chair from our board of directors, to give you a little more information about Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington Month.
Thank you, Sarah. Your worship and council and staff, very nice to be here in front of you today and give you a little bit of an update and introduce to you our theme for this Crime Stoppers Month, and that is fostering community safety, one tip at a time. There are really two thoughts there. Community safety is something that we should all be doing and we should all be striving for in our communities. And I'll get to the one tip at a time part. Our community safety is a priority and it's a strategic goal of many municipalities, as it should be. We see a focus on safety in all aspects from our policing partners. In our case, we have both Guelph Police Service and Wellington OPP as policing partners. They accomplish their goals through partnerships with other agencies. Crime Stoppers of Guelph Wellington is just one of those agencies, as is Safe Communities that we have just heard about. We support the policing mission by facilitating information transfer to allow people in our communities to remain anonymous, but still have the ability to do the right thing, to say it here when there's something that they need to say. In a community, somebody always knows what's happened, or in some cases, what's about to happen. The Crime Stoppers program creates community connections, partnerships, and we know how important those are, between the public, businesses, media, and investigators. We're a not-for-profit, and we believe that together we can enhance safety in our communities and safely provide information that people know that will allow investigators to identify persons responsible for victimizing people in our community and to seek the accountability for those actions. We do this by seeking tips from the public, one tip at a time. That's the second part. Over time, this adds up dramatically. Since 1988, over 1,600 arrests have been made, 2,300 cases closed, and over $39 million in recovered and seized property that's been obtained by crime and or unlawful drugs. Every one of those statistics happened as a result of the diligent investigation done by policing agencies. And they got there one tip at a time. We protect the identity of the person providing the tip. They may have relationships that make their involvement in the criminal court process uncomfortable, maybe complicated. They may have an aversion to involvement with investigators directly, or they may just not want to get involved, but they want to stand up for a victim by doing the right thing, by saying it here. It allows that. So how do the general public get involved? Well, if you know something, say it here. They can also support the Crime Stoppers process and programs through, for instance, we had a shredding event just the other week in Mount Forest, and we have another one this weekend in Guelph. It's opportunities to be able to link not only a fundraiser for us as we're a not-for-profit, but also with a public service to shred documentation for information security. We like to try and link those two pieces together. And if you want to do something that's a little bit more fun, well, we have a trivia night that's coming up on the 30th of October, and that's being held at the Grandway in Elora. And it'll be a Halloween-themed night. And we've partnered with the Grandway, and they've been very gracious in working with us, and they believe that things can be better in our community than where we're at right now. And we thank them so much for that. So the message here is that together we can make our community safe, and we can provide a voice for those in the community who can't speak for themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Any questions from council to the delegation? Okay. We have a couple things here to do. First, a resolution moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. The Township of Mapleton Council received for information a delegation of Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington, Dave Ellaway, and the board chair, and Sarah Bowers-Peter, the program coordinator. All in favor? It's carried. And next, it's a longer one. It's a resolution moved by Councillor Woodham and second by Councillor Ottens. This is a declaration, whereas the Crime Stoppers program was launched on September 8th, 1976, and Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington feels it is important to recognize this annually. Whereas celebrating Crime Stoppers in September is a logical opportunity to increase community safety. Whereas Crime Stoppers offers a method to provide information to investigators without being involved in a criminal justice system. Whereas the theme for Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington is fostering community safety, one tip at a time, to reinforce the need for individuals to take an active role in reporting crime. Now therefore, I, Greg Davidson, the Mayor of the Township of Mapleton, together with my fellow councillors, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington Month in the Township of Mapleton. All in favor? Great. Do you want to do it? If council would meet at the front, we're going to do a photo with this proclamation. We don't have any minutes from committees. Moving on to 9.11, we have, or 9.1 with Building Department. We have 9.11 and 9.12, July and August month-end reports. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. So we got the two reports today. We're actually having really good last 2 months. We did 43 permits in July, brought in $45,000. We did 36 in August, brought in $67,900. Continuing to be driven by large agricultural projects. We actually have several 50,000 square foot barns that are going to be permitted in the next month or two. So yeah, still going steady on agricultural. Unfortunately, we're not getting a lot of new houses, and the ones we are demolitions and replacements.
Thanks, Mike. More than 9 seconds like last council, but you're pretty good.
Trying.
You're trying, good. I have two resolutions here. First one is moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township of Mapleton Council received for information Building Department Report BD 2025-09, dated September 23rd, 2025, regarding permit activity for the month of July 2025. Any questions from members of council? All in favor? That's carried. And the next one, moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens. Township of Mapleton Council received for information Building Department Report BD 2025-10, dated September 23rd, 2025, regarding permit activity for the month of August 2025. Any questions from council? All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, Mike. Moving on to item 9.2, the Economic Development, Arts and Cultural Tourism Master Plan. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. Through you to council. We were happy to bring this forward. We've worked on it for the last several months, along with Nancy and Kevin Majority from McSweeney, as well as many community stakeholders, from residents, business holders, business obviously businesses within the community as well as yourselves and staff. So we are really looking forward to just putting this plan in place and are excited to get moving with it. We hope that you enjoyed the presentation from McSweeney, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Resolution moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township of Mapleton Council received the report ED 2025-05 regarding the updated Economic Development and Arts, Culture, and Tourism Master Plan. That council receives the updated Economic Development and Arts, Cultural, and Tourism Master Plan as presented by McSweeney, and further that council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign a bylaw to adopt the new Economic Development and Arts, Cultural, and Tourism Master Plan. Say that over and over again. Any questions for Amy on the Economic Development, Arts, Cultural, Tourism Master Plan? I just want to keep saying it over and over. Seeing no questions, all in favor? Great work, thank you. Moving on to the Finance Department. We have the Procurement Bylaw Update 2025, Mr. Patrick Kelly.
Thank you very much, Mayor Davidson. So throughout the 2025 year, our finance team, in consultation with other internal stakeholders, we've been working through an in-depth review of policies that are in place to guide our team in achieving the strategic goals, specifically of fiscal responsibility and operational excellence. So tonight it is my privilege to introduce our procurement manager, asset and procurement manager, Amon Baines, who has led the comprehensive review and update of our existing procurement framework. She'll provide an overview of the updated procurement bylaw that's being presented to council, which will give us clear guidance to our purchasing agents, which are department heads and senior staff, as well as the vendors that we use. And it's important that we move forward with this updated framework in advance of our busy 2026 purchasing year. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Amon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. So today we're here for an update to our procurement bylaw. The report and the attached bylaw represents a review and update of our existing purchasing and procurement policy. Can we go to the next slide? So the purpose of this update is to ensure that township purchasing is following the 3 guiding principles of fairness, which is an open and competitive purchasing, it's transparent, clear processes and accountability, and it's efficient, which is value for taxpayers' money. Next slide, please. So why the update now? So our current purchasing and procurement policy was established in 2019 and is now outdated. It established the framework for how the township acquires goods, services, and all the construction works. And since its adoption over 5 years ago, there have been several developments which created the need for an update. That includes updates to our procurement thresholds, adjustments for inflationary changes, and the best practices across different municipalities. This also includes an opportunity to modernize our purchasing procedures, which is moving away from hard copy bids, which limits the people or like the suppliers bidding on it, to electronic bidding, and also includes processes like vendor performance management and evaluation. It also has an increased emphasis on transparency, accountability, and fairness in procurement, and aligns with how other municipalities operate. And this is a summary of what's in the bylaw, the major changes. So our purchasing and procurement policy did not have defined roles and responsibilities, so this includes a clarity on responsibilities for the CAO, the CFO, treasurer, department heads, and the council. There is a clear purchasing thresholds, which is who approves what, at what dollar level, and it also includes the inflationary changes since the 2019 policy. And like I said, shifting from hard copy bids to online bidding systems, that's the standard. The framework for term contracts, vendor pre-qualification, and performance evaluation, which enhances the planning, service continuity, and cost control over the several years. It also improves the vendor accountability and the contract outcomes. This also includes special provisions that address emergency purchases, phased acquisitions, negotiations, and auctions. This is the procurement method highlights. So anything under $10,000 would be the authorized requisitioner, which would be department heads or designates. Then $10K to $25K are direct purchases from the purchasing heads, agents, which are the department heads and our designates. Anything that's over $25K but under $50K limit would require 3 written electronic proposals and approval of the purchasing agent. Anything that's $50K to $100K would require 3 electronic proposals and the CFO treasurer approval. We would issue formal bids through our electronic bidding system for anything that's over $100K, and under $250K would be approved by the CFO treasurer, but if it's more than the $250K value, it would come to council for approval. And I just want to reiterate that this is only applicable to all the projects that have been approved in the capital budget. So based on that, these are the procurement methods for the dollar values. Yeah, and if the bylaw gets approved, pending the council approval, it will take effect right away, and we'll start applying it to all our future procurements. Thank you.
All right. We have the resolution here, moved by Councillor Reid, seconded by Councillor Martin, that council receive report FIN 2025-27 regarding the procurement bylaw update 2025, and further that council consider approval of the procurement bylaw as presented. Questions from council members on the procurement bylaw? Wow. Okay. I do have one. I'm just a little confused here. Maybe you can help me out with it. Under point 6, where tender or contract have been authorized under the bylaw, the CAO may authorize disbursement of additional funds, provided the additional funds shall not exceed 15% of the original contract price. And then moving on down under bids and tenders, number 23, it talks about the cost estimate of $100,000 and shall not, the budget of 10%. Is there a discrepancy there, or is it two different things?
Sure. Through you, Mayor Davidson, it is 2 different things. Essentially, anything up to 10% can stay within the authority of the CFO treasurer. If it goes beyond that, we get up to 15% over, we would have to go, in this case, to Manny. The department head would have to go to Manny. It's past my approval. Manny has to ultimately approve that for that additional level. It used to be just 10% across the board, but
Right.
Given the pricing of things right now and some of the, I guess, vulnerability that's out there, that goes with our key financial principles. There is a little bit of room there if it were to go to 15%, but I wouldn't myself be comfortable just authorizing that without bringing in the CAO for his approval overall.
Thank you. My second question is item number 25, the asset procurement manager with the assistance of the purchasing agent shall distribute and receive all tender proposal and consult calls via the township online bidding portal. Does that even include those that want to do a paper bid? Because you have in the process here a paper bid, and so if they're doing a paper bid, I would assume that they want to do everything by paper or make a phone call, but is this saying that those have to go through this?
Sure, through you, Mayor Davidson, and I'll let Amon jump in if she needs to. That section of the bylaw deals specifically with tenders, like the larger size contracts and bids. All of those now are run through our online bidding platform. This is probably several times not several, 3 times I've converted municipalities to the online bidding platform. There's a lot of trepidation around, will everybody still be able to bid? Does everybody still know how to use this system? I can vouch for the fact that any of the vendors that have been traditionally bidding on these larger contracts, et cetera, all have the capabilities to utilize the online bidding system. Also, the fees associated with that online bidding system are paid by all of the vendors, which allows them access to the company that provides that. So they have full support, but I'm not sure from Amon or Jamie, who handle those, if you're aware of anybody that would still require the need to submit via paper for something as large as our bids and tenders.
You were on before, you got turned back on. Thank you.
Sorry. So for any of our larger bids, we have not noticed any of our suppliers saying that they cannot access the online bidding system. And most of them actually seem to prefer doing it because then it reduces the room for error, like any of the calculations that they might get wrong in a hard copy bid, like online bidding negates the room for error for the most part. So we have not noticed any of the firms or suppliers saying that they cannot do the online bidding
Great,
system.
thank you very much. That's something that we talked about many years ago, going online with this, so I'm really happy to see it happen. I know that it's going to streamline things really well here in the township. If I'm the only one who has questions, no one else from what I've just brought up? All right. All in favor? That's carried. Community Grants Policy Update. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you once again, Mayor Davidson. So another element of our policy review included the consolidation of existing policies into a single streamlined community grants policy. The draft policy was presented at our last council meeting and deferred to this one. Since that time, staff have worked to update the policy to better align with the intent of council under the original programs. The updated policy before you this evening has included specific reference to the Parks and Recreation Committee having input into the review and recommendation of applications under the capital grants program. And one additional issue that's was raised was with regard to the athletic and cultural bursary program. So staff have provided an overview of the historical utilization of that program over the past 3 years, and based on that, we'd be recommending a program cap of $2,000 per year, which would be monitored and adjusted if necessary. So the financial impact section does include what we would intend to put forward in the 2026 budget as the funding envelopes under each stream of the program, and we're here to answer any questions from council.
Thank you. Resolutions moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Reid. The Township Mapleton Council received information, report FIN 2025-26 regarding the Community Grants Program, and that the following policies be hereby repealed. Policy 7.1, Municipal Grants Policy. Policy 7.4, 50/50 funding for Parks and Recreation projects. Policy 10.4, Athletic and Cultural Bursary. And further, that Policy 7.1, Community Grants Policy be approved as presented. Questions then for the CFO. Councilor Martin.
No questions, Mr. Mayor, just a comment, just say thank you. I appreciate the changes that are being reflected. I'm still kind of mourning the loss of the term 50/50 funding, but I do appreciate that capital grants actually makes more sense in the long term, so I like it, so thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. And next, proposed fees and charges for 2026. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you once again, Mayor Davidson. As council is aware, municipalities are limited in access to revenue tools with the exception of our property tax base, so we're consistently seeking alternative revenue tools wherever possible. This year, under the leadership of our Deputy Treasurer, Rachel Carter, the fees and charges bylaw was reviewed and updated, and I'll hand it over to Rachel, who will provide an overview of the proposed updates.
Thank you. So this afternoon, we're bringing forth the proposed 2026 fees and charges for council's consideration, and we'll be seeking approval of the bylaw at the October 14th meeting. I know there are a lot of numbers to look at here. The approach is pretty consistent with past years. Finance has adjusted fees that are inflationary in nature by inflation, which this year was 3.1%, and where applicable, a phased-in increase as per past studies or as approved by council historically. Phased-in increases were applied. This applies to building. They are adjusted by 5% plus inflation, as well as planning, which are adjusted by 17.33% plus inflation. And then cemetery interment fees, which follow a phased-in increase as per council direction. As noted in the report, just to reiterate that water and wastewater fees have been excluded. They'll be determined by the Board of Northern Maple Utilities and brought forth to council at a future meeting. Finance collaborated with each department to ensure that fees were increased appropriately and any new fees or additional details were added or changed to appropriately ensure that the charges are clear for the public and sufficient to cover related costs in accordance with our long-term financial strategy. Subsequent to the agenda being posted, it was noted on Schedule I, fees for public skating for individuals and families were not appropriately rounded to the nearest 25 cents. For fees generally paid in cash, it's best practice to round to a quarter, just so that the time spent counting or gathering change is reduced and everything is more practical and efficient for both the public and staff alike. So based on this, those proposed public skating fees on Schedule I would be adjusted to $4. They're currently in the draft at $4.20. And then $13, they're currently at $12.90. So that would be adjusted and then reflected prior to the bylaw for approval at the October meeting. And I mean, a big thank you to each of the departments for their collaboration. I think we've almost got a representative from every department here, so between them and myself, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rachel. Resolution 9.3.3, moved by Councillor Reid, seconded by Councillor Martin. The Township Mapleton Council received for information Finance Report FIN 2025-25 regarding the proposed fees and charges for 2026, and that Council consider the fees and charges bylaw for approval at the October 14th, 2025 Council meeting. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving right along to 9.41, sign bylaw. Michelle Brown.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Davidson. The short story is that we don't have a sign bylaw. And so certain structures, of course, such as certain signs, require a building permit. And although we might not have water allocation to build a lot of new in-town housing, a lot of people are still, we have large agricultural permits, as you just heard, and we also have a good number of requests for signs, especially having more and more agritourism businesses, people putting roadside stands. The issue, and those are all fine. The issue is that we're now getting a number of requests for billboards, which, again, lots of people are interested in, especially if it's from something outside, such as another organization. It's another way to supplement income. And we had someone come through with an MTO approved permit, but we, in our opinion, after reviewing it, I only have a single definition of signs in my zoning bylaw. And some of those items that are being requested don't require site plan. There's no other way to regulate how far it sits back from your neighbor. And we believe it will cause a fair bit of confusion. We're trying to prevent more bylaw calls from coming in from neighbors being disgruntled with their neighbor. So again, not trying to wait for something negative to happen and to be proactive. We did a bit of an assessment of our local community municipalities and took the best of what we thought we could do. I do understand it's actually quite a large document. A good portion of the first pieces are, of course, definitions, and I did not include any, I don't have ever pretty pictures or anything like that with the blow-up wavy guy as a sign for those things that are air blown and whatnot. We have no concerns or issues around, you know, a child wants to put up a stand or a sign to sell lemonade, let's say, or our real estate agents. It's certainly not to attempt to police or overmanage or deal with enforcement. It is truly about the larger structures that are starting to come forward and giving some people some parameters to work with. If council is not comfortable passing the bylaw sign tonight because you'd like to have some more time to digest it and make some further suggestions, obviously that's, you know, your choice, but this came forward quite quickly because we do have some timeline issues that we would at the very least, like to hear council's direction on the billboard section, if that's possible, or if you wish to. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 9.41, moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Reed, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information planning report PL 2025-08 regarding a sign bylaw, and that council consider for approval the attached draft bylaw. Questions from members of council about the sign bylaw? It is a lengthy document. Thank you very much for putting it together. Councillor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do miss the pictures, but you're right. The one question I have is from Ms. McKay. Almost got me there.
I'm so sorry, yes.
Is around the, you talk about full cost recovery. Do you have a proposal at all about what that would look like, or did I miss that? So like, what would the fee be for a permit for a sign type thing?
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Through you, Mayor Davidson. The sign bylaw, the sign fee is actually, people will not apply through the planning department. They will apply through the building department. Interestingly enough, the building department already has a fee of $140 in 2025 without a bylaw attached to it. I have no history on why or where that came from, but it already does exist, and it's also included in our fees and charges that you just approved, and I believe it goes up to $155. There's nothing about full cost recovery. It's not meant to be a moneymaker.
Go ahead, Councillor Martin.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was looking for it in red, but if it was existing, it was probably blacked out. I just, in the report under the diligent fiscal management, it just talks about the review concept of full cost recovery, so that's what I was kind of asking, so thank you.
Other questions from council members? Councillor Ottens.
I'm not sure thank you through you, Mayor Davids. I'm not sure where in all this I've saw it or thought I saw it. The wire picket signs that we put up for special events, is there rules about whether they can go on public property? Or do they have to only go on private property? How does that, I forget where, if it's in here.
Thank you, Councillor Ottens. Through you, Mayor Davidson. It is actually listed in Section 3 that no permits are required, and certain things that are small and I don't want to say insignificant in nature, but are not, obtrusive or causing any issues with sight lines, don't require a permit. Section 4 goes through another lengthy list of exclusions where permits will not be required, and again, as the zoning administrator, there's a certain level of discretion that we would also have. And anything that we do for township events or festivals, things like that, they are also excluded. There's no permit required.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly?
Thanks, Mayor Davidson. Just to provide additional clarity for Councillor Martin, it was a fee that was in the black. As finance, we like things that are in the black, not in the red. But if you refer to Schedule B building, the first page at the very bottom, there's a fee called tent and signs, and any permits not listed, it falls under that. $155 is what's included in the bylaw, but thank you for checking on that.
Thank you. Further questions from council? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure who's best to answer this, but I'm just curious more about the why. Mrs. McCabe talked about a little bit that there's been some permits coming forward, but I personally didn't know that signs were an issue kind of within Mapleton. So to see this very comprehensive bylaw was like, okay, maybe there is something. I guess my question is for somebody, like what are we looking to accomplish specifically outside of the regulation piece?
Ms. McCabe.
Thank you, Councillor Martin, through you, Mayor Davidson. So again, I would like to believe that if I'm in, I'm all in, and I do tend to bring probably more than we are looking for, but I'd rather do it once and do it well than have to go back and redo it and trying not to anticipate any issues coming up. Again, our attempt at being proactive. But I'm more than happy to add pictures in for people, and like I said, if you would prefer to come back at a later date and to have it not be so comprehensive, but I'd rather have you something to work with and chop up than having to build it back up again.
Sorry, Mr. Barron.
Through your worship, and also, I think there is a permit or some conversation about a billboard where they wanted to put the billboard a little bit too close to the residential lot where it would affect the residents. So that's one thing. And then we've also asked, as a CIO, I've also asked, because there are some businesses in town that are maybe taking advantage of the number of signs that are on the building. Some of them are dilapidated. They don't make our downtowns look good. There's not just in Drayton, but several. There's some in Alma. There's some in Moorfield. So just to be able to have some teeth when we go into these businesses, to be able to say, you know, your sign is not appropriate, and if there's not a bylaw, there's really nothing we can do. So introducing a bylaw allows staff to address it appropriately with teeth as a backup to let those, whether it's a billboard or a sign or a dilapidated sign, it allows us to handle it with vigor, if you will, with something backing us up.
Mike, do you have anything to add? Mr. Walsh, the other Mike? If so?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I would just like to reiterate that I have 2 applications for billboard currently. Both of them are going to cause significant complaints from neighbors just from the location that they are being, they're trying to put them. So.
Thank you. Anything further from council then? Councilor Ottens?
Under the Section 6 prohibited signs, you know, they all make sense, you know, nothing obscene and this and that, but I do wonder why the signs that are inflatable and balloon in nature would be prohibited, the wacky arm-flaying tube man kind, because that is the sort of thing that I could see people would want to promote a special event. So why, like if you're going to name every single sign that ever existed, and I didn't realize there were so many, then why prohibit that kind?
Michelle?
Thank you, Councillor Ottens, through you, Mayor Davidson. So I specifically changed the wording so that if it's air, absolutely fine. So your fancy balloon, like, you know, inflatable, it's when they use helium or any other type of gas that causes a bit of a problem. So we certainly want to, you know, limit the you know, risk mitigation that way. But the air guy is absolutely fine, or whatever other direction they come in.
Thank you. Other questions? Under 12.5, we talk about wire picket signs, and they talk about special events being approved. Would this include the Legion signs? Would they be allowed? Because the Legion signs have those poppy signs that are put out in the community. Would this be one of those special events, being the Remembrance Day and having those signs up?
As far as an exclusion?
Yeah, it's just talking about wire signs are only permitted for municipal, provincial, and federal elections pursuant to regulations of the bylaw, and for real estate signs, temporary exhibitions, festivals, and events approved by the township. I don't know if Remembrance Day is a special event, but I know they have those signs they put around the community. I just want to make sure that they're not excluded from being allowed in this bylaw.
I know that's, I would consider them to be for a special occasion, and they would absolutely be excluded from needing a permit. Just like any other sign that might be erected, it's again, as long as it's, not causing any kind of distraction or disruption to sight lines, they're absolutely fine and welcome.
Thank you. Any further questions from council? Are we looking for the approval of the bylaw tonight? Would that be the beneficial part for you? Okay. So, council direction here, because I have that council consider approval of the attached bylaw. Would council, anybody in council like to change this notice of motion here, or resolution, I should say? Councillor? Go ahead, Woodham.
Thank you, through you. Mayor Davidson, yes, I would like to move that we go ahead and put it on the floor, the bylaw. Or do you have it already? I do.
Okay. So we can go with this, Mr. Clerk, and then approval later? Yes. Okay. We're good with what we have here then. Thank you. Mr. Clerk has thrown me off again with his genius. All in favor then? That's carried. Let's go 9.51, Public Works with Edward Street traffic concerns. Mr. Jamie Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson, Council. This report is more of a Wellington County report through Mapleton staff. There was some correspondence with staff here, myself, with Wellington County, but this is more of information from them. We really didn't have a lot to do with this, other than we did voice some concerns with some traffic on Edward Street. So if there's any questions in there, there's some numbers that, point to in that location that there was not a lot of speeding and everybody was within that 85 percentile of doing the speed limit or under. So if there's any questions, and there was that announcement this morning from Premier Ford that we would be getting rid of these cameras. So yeah, if there's any questions on or concerns with the report, just for council's information.
Thank you. This was brought up at County Council because there was Drayton being one and Fergus being another one of vehicles that were said to be circumventing the camera, the automated speed enforcement, and going around it. But as you have stated, those cameras will be gone shortly. I had a conversation with Premier Ford this afternoon, who alliterated that to me once again, that we're taking them out. So that will be totally different when that happens, and we'll see if there's still traffic going around on Edward Street. Any comments or questions on this report? Councillor Ottens, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's obviously irrelevant now, but I would like to point out that in the future, if they were going to do one of these traffic tests, that perhaps they could choose a more realistic time frame for this, because they went from 8:45 to 3:44. So that's the daytime when everybody's actually in school and at work. If you're going to test traffic on a street where people are going around, I would imagine it would have been a lot different in the early morning hours, and from like 4 till 9 p.m., I think you would have found a lot more people exceeding the speed limit. And the location of it, to be fair, is kind of a dumb spot.
The location, absolutely, I agree with you on that. The times, I took it the other way around. I took it as being from August 8th at 8:45 until August 20th at, at 3:44, but that, Mr. Morgan, maybe you can confirm that?
Through Mayor Davidson, yeah, that was 8:45 on August 8th until 3:44 August 20th. It was it was a 24-hour over over that period. Sorry, that was a little bit confusing in how it was wrote. This was a little bit of cut and paste from the county because it is all the technical information. Agreed with the location. There probably should have been, I would have recommended a location probably north of Pine, somewhere through the bends there, just coming over the bends, because that's more of a straightaway there. Once you hit that 90 towards Wellington Street South, it's a short stretch. So yeah, agreed on the location, but the time was stretched out.
And Mr. Morgan, we had chatted earlier that if we were to do this again, we'd probably put up 2 cameras, 1 at each end.
Yeah, that's correct. While you're there, 2 cameras would be beneficial, and we are actually looking at purchasing 1 eventually here of our own with the county, so we can do a lot more of these tests and traffic counts. So,
thank you. Resolution is moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reid, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information Public Works Report PW 2025-13, dated September 23rd, 2025, regarding speeding concerns on Edward Street, Drayton. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, item number 10, moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin, that bylaws number 2025-043, 2025-044, and 2025-045 be hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally pass the 23rd day of September 2025, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with a corporate seal. Any questions or comments on any of these 3 bylaws? All in favor? It's carried. There's a number of items for council's direction there. There's some of the letters from some of the local residents. And then we have correspondence for council's information. There's 6 of them, those there. Anybody wish to speak to any of the 6? Moving on, any notice of the motion? Other business, number 15. Councillor Woodham.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Davidson, it's just more of a comment. I just wanted to say thank you very much, whoever set up for our O Canada with the Moore Family Band playing. It was wonderful to see, and perhaps that's kind of part of our cultural moments too, and I appreciated it and hope there's more to come.
Mr. Clerk.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Woodham. We did speak to Mrs. Moore a couple of weeks ago, and she apologized profusely. She said that Amy and Michaela had spoke to her in the summer, and she completely forgot. She's such a nice lady. And then today, today at 3 o'clock, she called and emailed the song, and was joking about how hard it is to herd her children together anymore to get anything done. So Carl and I put it on for today's anthem, and we took a risk and didn't tell Mandy because we thought we'd get a reaction from her. Anyway, thank you.
I saw Manny tapping his toes over here, so he was okay. Anything else for other business? Okay, item 16 then, moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reid. Township Mapleton Council move into a closed session to consider the following subject matter: litigation, potential litigation, includes matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. All in favor? That's carried. 10-minute recess.